Hey there, my wedding planning friends, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, thanks so much for clicking on my video. I'm Emily Summer, I'm a wedding planner based in Montana, and I make weekly videos on wedding planning tips and advice. So today's video is going to be a part of the series that I've been doing all about what you should be doing during the wedding planning process based on the time frame that you're at in accordance to your wedding date. So today's video is about everything that you should be doing 1 month before your wedding. You're 1 month out from your wedding and all of your vendors and all the big items should be done and ready to go. And now is the time to just go through and confirm all of these details and make sure that there's nothing that you're forgetting or missing and that you're set to go for your wedding day. In this month leading up to your wedding, a large part of this will be tracking down those RSVPs and making sure that you have heard from all of your guests, either yes or no. Typically, your RSVP deadline is about a month and a half, 2 months before your wedding date, so you should have, ideally, your RSVPs in by now, but likely you will need to follow up with some guests that you haven't heard from. And so now is the time to be doing that and also be working on your seating chart if you plan on having assigned seating at your wedding. Also, if you are having assigned seating, make sure you have any of the corresponding items that you need for this as far as a seating chart sign or escort cards or whatever you plan to do. Also, make sure that you have purchased a guest book or some sort of alternative if you aren't planning on having the traditional physical guest book, as well as a card box or something to put your cards in on your wedding day. Now is also the time to confirm and finalize any of your song selections for both your ceremony and your reception, as well as purchase any gifts you might be giving for your wedding, whether that is for your partner, for your bridesmaids, your groomsmen, your parents, anybody that you want to thank for being a part of your wedding day. Gather those gifts now. A big part of the month leading up to your wedding is also working on your day of timeline. And likely you've already started some sort of draft, or you have a rough outline of what your wedding day is going to look like, and now is the time to really fine tune and go through and schedule out your full wedding day timeline. This goes for vendor arrival and setup times, hair and makeup start times, what time your photography coverage starts and ends, and all of those things that relate to timing on your wedding day. You're going to want to schedule and plan out a nice document that has all of these day of timeline items listed out and scheduled, and it's going to make your wedding day so much nicer, especially if you are not having a wedding coordinator. You also want to be reviewing all of your vendor contracts at this time. Make sure you understand any policies that are going to be set in place on your wedding day and all of your remaining balances that are due. So either pay these balances or understand what you're going to be having to pay on your wedding day and have those prepared ahead of time. You can write out checks and put them in labeled envelopes that you can distribute on your wedding day, either yourself or appoint a responsible bridal party member, family member, or if you have a wedding coordinator to distribute those for you. This also goes for tips. Understand which vendors you are going to be tipping on your wedding day and have those prepared in advance as well. This is also a good time to acquire any of the paperwork that you need if you plan on changing your name, as well as obtain your marriage license. And obtaining a marriage license can differ depending on where you reside. So understand what needs to be done here and do your research based on where you're at and what you need in order to obtain your marriage license and have it for your wedding day. Also, please make sure you have purchased or rented a cake knife and server if you plan on doing a formal cake cutting at your wedding and your caterer is not providing that for you. This is one of those small details that is often forgotten by couples, so make sure you've got that ready to go. You also want to confirm your transportation schedule if you are hiring a transportation company to shuttle either yourselves or your guests to and from your wedding. Have all of those details confirmed with a transportation company and your schedule set and displayed on your wedding website or somewhere where your guests have access to. Now's the time to also update any of your rental orders based on your guest count. So if you are renting tables, chairs, linens, place settings, anything that is determined on how many guests you have in attendance, now's the time to touch base with those rental companies and change any of the orders that you need to based on your head count. Most rental companies will give you a deadline in the beginning booking process of when you are allowed to change these orders, so make sure that you're falling in line with what their requirements are and update any of these orders while you still can. This also goes for your florist. If you are doing centerpieces or florals that are based on the amount of tables you will have, which is based on the amount of guests you will have, make sure you're confirming those numbers with your florist as well so that you have enough flowers to cover all of the tables that you need, or that you're not overpaying for flowers that you no longer need. Also, now is the time to confirm any of your rehearsal dinner details. So if you are having a rehearsal dinner at a venue or a restaurant, make sure that your timing and your guest count and everything is confirmed with them, as well as all of your guests have been informed that are going to be invited to your rehearsal dinner. This also goes for your actual rehearsal itself before the rehearsal dinner. If you are having a rehearsal at your venue, make sure that you have a time set with that venue and that this is relayed to anybody that needs to be in attendance. So your bridal party, your officiant, family members, anybody that is participating in the ceremony at all has all the information that they need to attend the rehearsal, and all of that is set and ready to go. So it is officially your wedding month. You're so close, you're almost there. Just the finalizing of the details and confirming all of these items is going to make these last final weeks leading up to your wedding much less stressful. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe to get weekly videos on wedding planning tips and advice, and we'll see you next week.